Hey Interisti, how's it going? 18th of July, the transfer window keeps hotting up, and finally, Inter is hotting up after the initial period where we were signing younger players, maybe not as exciting players. The Ademola Lookman news has brought out the fire and excitement in all Interisti. Some obviously skeptical, which I don't blame you. I'm also one of those ones that I'm not sure whether we'll pull it off, but also ones that are fully into it, excited and ready to welcome Ademola Lookman to Inter from Atalanta. Let's see if it happens. But today's news video, as usual, just going through other news outside of Lookman as well. At the end, we'll cover the Lookman news, but we got other loose ends to tie up as well, because there are other outgoings and incomings that Inter need to complete, of course. And before we get into it, make sure you leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Anyway, so what are the other news that we need to cover? Giovanni Leoni, that's also ongoing. It's not like now Inter are just looking at Ademola Lookman, and it's all the sources are saying that Inter won both, not just Ademola Lookman or Leoni. It's Ademola Lookman and Leoni, or Ademola Lookman and a centre back, or a winger striker and a centre back, which could be Leoni or De Winter, apparently the two top targets. So for Leoni, the fact that now Padula here says Parma are interested in Sebastiano Esposito, we've known this for a few days. So Inter are proposing or looking to propose a deal that's 25 million euros plus bonuses, including Sebastiano Esposito in the deal. This is a track to follow, according to Alfredo Padula. And that is what makes sense to me. You know, when we signed Bastoni, Inter signed Bastoni in 2019, was it? We paid 31 million euros on the books, but in reality, Inter paid, it was like 15, 16 million euros in actual cash money. And then the rest of it was obscure youth players that never actually ended up playing for Atalanta anyway. So it's definitely, you know, when you see Bastoni's value on the books, 31 million. So Inter could do something similar here with Leoni, where, you know, you could value, the saying Esposito's potentially being sold for 7-8 million euros. Maybe in a deal like this, you value him slightly higher, like, you know, 10 million euros. So you get to 25 plus bonuses, 10 million value for Esposito, 8 million value for Esposito. That gets to Parma's magic figure of 40, which is apparently what they're asking for. Again, I do think it is a little bit overpriced from Parma. I think they're pulling the cord a little bit, as they would say in Italian, pulling the rope a little bit too much on the valuation of the boy. But again, if Inter, Ausilio, Marotta believe him to be the next big Italian centre-back for the next decade or so, then it makes sense. That future potential, the future value, 18 years of age, that makes sense then. Personally, I don't see the game-changing value of Leoni in general. Like, you know, if we look at the centre-backs, the big centre-backs out of Italy in the last few years, so you have Bastoni, obviously, the big selling point or the big MVP value of Bastoni, even at that age, was the ball playing ability. That left foot was just outstanding. He needed to improve physically and defensively, and he has done that. Buongiorno, he has this, you know, very old school, like, grinta and aggressiveness and, you know, ability to battle and win duels. Leoni kind of doesn't fall in any of these categories. Like, you know, he's okay on the ball, not particularly that great. And he's quite tall and lean, so he almost has like a Ranocchia type build. He's a little bit, you know, more built than Ranocchia was. He's not as lean and thin. But, you know, in modern football, you don't really see as many of these types of defenders really succeeding. You know, this guy is what, 6'4", 6'5", not particularly quick. You know, in modern football, if you see the trend of the top centre backs, they're just over 6 foot, but definitely under 6'5" and more athletic. That's the kind of trend of the top centre backs right now. And Leoni doesn't quite fit that. But in the middle of the three, which is, I think, where we would sign him for and play him in Inter system, then it makes sense, where you don't need to be as quick, and he'll be quicker than Acerbi, so it helps out in the Inter system in the short term already. But in the long term, I don't see him being, you know, really a game changer. If you're talking about for Italy, if Italy going to play a back four, let's say, But I may be wrong on that. You guys let me know in the comments down below. But it seems like Inter are going to continue pushing for Giovanni Leoni. The other news I wanted to talk about on the outgoings is Akinsanmiro. You guys know on this channel, I am a fan of Akinsanmiro, not in a way that I think he's going to be into future midfielder or anything. I don't know. I have like a personal, like, just, sometimes you just can't explain it. I like the boy. I've even made, a video on the guy on this channel in the past. And as I said last season, even though he didn't have a great loan stint at Sampdoria, wasn't particularly his fault, to be honest. They had an awful year, Sampdoria. They got relegated, and now I think they're staying in Serie B somehow after all some drama in Serie B. Serie A, Serie B is even worse. Serie Brutti, I guess you could call it. But anyway, I said he should be playing. He could be already playing a role in a Serie A team, and I'm glad that he will be. Deal is done for Akinsanmiro to go to Pisa on loan with option to buy and a buyback clause. And I think it was confirmed today is going to be option to buy for 3 million, buyback for 3.5 million for Inter, that's how buyback should be, right? Which moves on to, well, actually, yeah. So I'm happy for Akinsanmiro. Hopefully it works out for him. Gets, his 20, 30 appearances in the season. Hopefully. I mean, it's not guaranteed. We know in Serie B, so teams coming up from Serie B, they're going to be fighting for their life. Are they going to be playing a 21-year-old midfielder? If their life depends on it, probably not. But at least he is in Serie A and could be a potential launching pad for him. But yeah, as I said, this is the type of buyback clause that Inter should be doing, which moves me on to the other hot topic of outgoings at the moment, Alexander Stankovic, Club Brugge continuing. I'm surprised no other club has come in. We've heard rumors that some Bundesliga teams may be interested, but we haven't really actually heard of any offers being made. It still continues to be only Club Brugge negotiating for the boy. And it's getting closer. In the last few days, we know that there's been disagreement with Club Brugge over the buyback option for Inter. Initially, they said it was going to be 28 million, which was too high. It's gone down slightly to 25 million euros, and this is a 2-year option, which I'm sure has some sort of dates included in it. Inter need to do this by a certain date. What I'm not happy with is, like, if Club Brugge, okay, they've put in this high resale buyback clause for Inter, and now there's also future resale percentage, which I like, but how have we not moved Club Brugge from the 10 million base if they value this guy that could be worth 25, 30 million euros already in a year or two? Surely we can also push them on getting more money out of them initially. So that is a little bit disappointing here in terms of the negotiation here. But again, with all these incoming potential moves, some money needs to come in from somewhere, and this guy obviously will be complete capital gain, clean green money for Inter on the books, as he is a youth player. But I'm still hoping, and maybe I think Inter should wait a few days, I think, to see if there are other teams interested, and that could push Club Brugge and help Inter get a better deal for Stankovic. But at least we do retain control over Stankovic, which I think is important in case he does, blow up, as they would say. Moving on, Christian Aslani, we know, I think Inter fans have said this, but now it also seems to be coming from within Inter that Aslani is not in Christian Kivu's plans, according to Nico Skira here, could end up leaving Inter this transfer window. And as we discussed in my keep, sell, loan video a few days back, if you haven't checked it out, check it out. Christian Aslani needs to be sold. It's time to move on and give someone else a chance in that slot. Or if we're changing formation to a 3-4-2-1, you don't actually even need to sign a replacement for him, because then you need less midfielders anyway, and you can reinvest that money for other positions. Happy birthday, Mehdi Taremi. Of course, we know he should be and hopefully is leaving for the betterment of his career, and hopefully Inter can get something out from him. But happy 33rd birthday to Taremi, who hopefully is doing better now and is safe and sound after all that Iran war situation. And now let's move on to the news that we have all been talking about the last few days. Ademola Lookman. So look at this, guys. Ademola Lookman is injured. He is injured. according to Matteo Moretto, so this is the Fabrizio Romano camp, the forward felt pain in his calf during training today. Many assume this is Lookman's way of forcing a transfer, but the truth is he is injured and could be out for a few weeks. So it could be both. I mean, we've seen this. How many times have we seen this? I think Benji Pavard was injured in the final few weeks and days that he was at Bayern Munich. It's a typical move to pull. It could be true, but it also could be, a little bit exaggerated to try to force the move. We know that Ademola Lookman wanted to leave last year, and he wants to leave again this year, and he wants Inter. He has agreed everything with Inter already. And yeah, we have confirmations of Inter's offer to Atalanta of 40 million, and we also have confirmations of what Inter's offer actually looked like, because we were all surprised. I was definitely surprised about this, but the way that Inter actually have offered it to Atalanta, which is why the initial rejection has come in straight away, is that Inter are offering a loan with obligation to buy. So now it makes sense. Inter there's going to be cost on the books for Inter this season, but it's actually going to be spread mostly onto next season. Especially as how it looks to like UEFA financial fair play regulations, it will be a loan for this season and then made permanent next season. So they're spreading the cost of it, the majority of the cost starting from next year. So that makes sense how they're actually pulling this off, because we were saying in the budgets, like, yeah, it's possible they can make this purchase, especially if they get rid of Taremi, other big costs on the book that already got rid of, the Kivu coming in for Inzaghi cost saving. The one thing I forgot to also mention was the new bond that an Inter negotiated, or refinanced bond, Inter save around 13-15 million euros a season to finance this bond from the previous one. So it's not a cost saving on the squad cost saving, but it's a total cost saving that makes a big difference to Inter every year. So that could mean that Inter have more money to play with every single year on a yearly basis compared to before as well. So those are factors that need to be taken into account as to why Inter are able to spend this money now. So Gazzetta today, the headline from them was Inter won't stop at the first no for Lookman, the 40 million that Atalanta have said to no to. There is great optimism. The forward has put Inter ahead of everyone else. There was talk of Atletico Madrid being interested, but from Bergamo, they say 50 million is needed. Both teams want to avoid another Cope Miners case. So I talked about how they've sold, Retegui, the Ruggeri, but they also are known to be very, very hard negotiators. Last year, they didn't sell Lookman to PSG, but it was in the last few weeks of the Mercato, so it made sense. But we're talking about the beginning of the Mercato now. Cope Miners is the perfect example. Juve wanted him, and Atalanta's asking price was 60 million euros. They didn't budge from that. In the end, Juve did get him for 55 million, I think, plus bonuses, getting slowly to that 60 million euro mark. But it took ages. It took weeks, negotiations on and off. But yeah, Atalanta, especially in the case in the state they are now, they don't need the money. They don't need to make capital gains. They will stick by their guns. So it is going to be a hard negotiation. But similarly, in the Cope Miners case, Inter will need Lookman to really push this through, to get injured, not turn up to training. And there was also a report, I don't know if it's here from Amala, but there is reported that he actually is not part today of their new kit launch. Let me see if it turns up here. There was a news I saw that, here, Corriere dello Sport says he has been excluded from the new pictures of the new kit launch. So that's already another potential sign that this move, that Atalanta know that maybe he's leaving this summer, and they want to obviously include him in those photo shoots to promote the new kit. Again, I remain cautiously negative, really, to be honest, on this deal, because Atalanta are a hard bone to pick with. It all really depends on how much Inter are willing to push the 40 million offer, and how much Lookman is going to push this through with him and Atalanta and his entourage to make life difficult for Atalanta. Because it makes sense for all parties to resolve this as soon as possible. Because if Atalanta they need to already replace Retegui. They don't want to drag this on too long so they can get the money in for Retegui and then Lookman and have a new look attack for next season, with Scamacca also coming back from his long injury. So let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Do you think it's going to happen or not? Are you still thinking this is fake news, that you just can't believe Inter are actually out there trying to spend money like this? And on Giovanni Leoni, what do you think of him as in terms of future potential? Do you see him as a game changer, or is more just securing a guy that is going to be just by default the future of Italy's national team? Let me know in the comments down below. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. Always, Forza Inter.